Have you ever noticed how truly intelligent people often get misunderstood, labeled as weird, called arrogant, dismissed as overthinkers? But here's the truth. Intelligent people scare society. Why? Because they see things differently. Because they ask questions that most are afraid to answer. Because they don't just follow. They challenge. And that shakes the entire system. We're going to break this down today, not just intellectually, but emotionally, with real-world examples, and a message that might just explain you better than anything else ever has. So sit back and listen closely, because what you're about to hear might finally make you feel seen. Let's begin. Intelligent people scare society because they don't blindly accept rules. They question the rules. They analyze, investigate, and expose the cracks in the system. Take Socrates, for example. He was one of the greatest philosophers in history. But do you know what happened to him? He was sentenced to death for corrupting the youth of Athens. But what did he really do? He asked questions. He encouraged people to think, and that scared the leaders, because when people think for themselves, they become harder to control. And that's the first reason why intelligent people scare society. They disrupt control. Think about school. The system isn't built to foster intelligence. It's built to produce obedience. Stand in line, memorize, repeat. Don't ask too many questions. But intelligent kids, they're the ones asking, why do we need to learn this? They're the ones bored in class, not because they're lazy, but because they've already figured it out. But instead of being praised, they're punished, labeled as troublemakers, told to stay in their lane. Why? Because intelligence threatens standardization, and society needs standardization to function easily. It's easier to manage sheep than it is to handle wolves. Now let's talk about a modern example. Elon Musk. Say what you want about him. He's not everyone's favorite. But there's one thing you can't deny. He thinks differently. He didn't just ask, how can I build a better car? He asked, why are we still using gas? He didn't just wonder, how can I make money? He thought, why don't we colonize Mars? And that's what scares people, because intelligence mixed with boldness becomes unstoppable. It makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to confront their own limitations. And here's the painful truth. Most people are terrified of their own potential. So when someone else comes along and lives it, they project their fears onto them. Oh, he's crazy. She's too intense. They're not normal. No, they're just free. And freedom is the scariest thing to a mind that has lived in chains. Another reason why intelligent people scare society. They expose lies. See, society is built on many comforting illusions. That money equals happiness. That success means status. That marriage means security. That your job is your identity. But an intelligent person looks at all that and says, wait a second, is that really true? And once you start asking questions like that, the walls start to crumble. An intelligent person doesn't just look at life. They see through it. They see the manipulation in advertisements. They see the politics in education. They see the emptiness in chasing likes and followers. And society doesn't like that, because the entire system is designed to keep you distracted, productive, but not fulfilled, busy, but not free. So when someone says, actually, I'm not going to chase that career path just for money, or I'd rather live a quiet, meaningful life than be famous, society looks at them like they're aliens. But maybe they're not crazy. Maybe they're just awake. You know who else scared society? Galileo. He looked up at the stars and dared to say that the earth revolves around the sun. And the church, society's highest authority, condemned him. They forced him to recant. They locked him up. Why? Because his truth threatened their power. And that's what truth does. It doesn't just illuminate. It destabilizes. It forces change. And intelligent people carry truth like a torch in a room full of dry lies. So yes, they're scary, but they're necessary. Here's another thing about intelligent people. They're often deeply lonely. Because when you see the world so clearly, it's hard to find people who see it with you. You sit in conversations and feel like you're drowning in small talk. You try to connect, but people think you're too intense. You smile, nod, laugh politely. But inside, your mind is exploring galaxies. It's not that you think you're better. You just feel different. And different is often misunderstood. But let me tell you something powerful. Your mind is a gift. Your depth is a gift. Your sensitivity, your insight, your questions, they are not problems. They are your power. And if you've ever felt like you didn't belong, that's because you're here to build a new place, not fit into the old one. Let's talk about the courage it takes to be intelligent. Because intelligence isn't just about IQ. It's not about how many books you read or how fast you can solve a puzzle. It's about awareness, perception, reflection, and the emotional intelligence to sit with truth even when it hurts. See, society teaches us to avoid pain, but intelligent people lean into it. They ask the hard questions. They confront their traumas. They dive into the uncomfortable. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because they understand that the truth lives there. And that truth sets you free. But that freedom comes at a cost. You may lose friends. You may lose comfort. You may even lose your sense of certainty. Because intelligence often means walking alone through the darkness, while everyone else is laughing in the light. But eventually, that light they're laughing in fades, and your inner fire becomes the only real glow. That's when you realize you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to lead, not with noise, but with quiet conviction. Let me give you a story. There was a boy in school, always quiet, always thinking. He didn't talk much, didn't fit in. Teachers called him distracted. Peers called him strange. He wasn't on the football team. He didn't care about TikTok or trends. But every day he went home and built robots in his garage. He stayed up late reading about space. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was trying to understand the universe. 10 years later, he creates a piece of technology that changes the world. And suddenly, the same people who mocked him now worship him. They call him a genius, an innovator, a visionary. But he was always that. Society just wasn't ready to see it. Don't wait for society to validate your brilliance. Know it within yourself. Because your intelligence is not here for applause. It's here for impact. So, what can you do? If you're one of those intelligent people, first, stop apologizing for being different. You don't owe anyone normalcy. You don't need to shrink your thoughts to fit their comfort zones. Second, use your mind to build, not just to break. Yes, you see the flaws. Yes, you see what's wrong. But don't get lost in cynicism. Use your insight to create solutions. Start projects. Write. Build. Lead. Because the world needs more than critics. It needs creators. And finally, find your tribe. Not everyone will get you, but someone will. And when you find even one person who sees the world like you do, it feels like home. Don't chase popularity. Chase resonance. Intelligent people scare society because they are the architects of revolution, not always with protests or speeches, but with ideas, because an idea planted in the right mind can shift the direction of history. So if you've ever been told you're too much, too intense, too weird, I want you to hear this. You are not too much. You are exactly enough for the world you are here to change. And even if society fears you, keep going, because the ones who shake the world are never the ones who fit in. They're the ones who stand out. Think deeply, speak truth, and walk forward, even when they walk alone. You might be misunderstood today, but tomorrow you will be remembered. Because intelligent people scare society, until society realizes they were its greatest gift all along.